Now, so we know that in that last video, I gave you the description and the characteristics of a psychopath. They're emotionalist. They're very organized. They're very smart. They will come up with a plan. They will come up with the backup plan. They're often very well educated. They'll leave you clues as to what they're doing because they don't mind leaving you clues. They want to leave you clues just to prove how much smarter they are than you. So they're leaving us clues all over the place. We get the clues all over the place. We're choosing to ignore them. We get the clues by the fact that almost 1,000 black men have been killed already. So we have the clues. We have the clues whenever they sit there and let Darren Wilson off. There goes the clue. Whenever Trayvon Martin gets off, there go your clue. Whenever in the media a black person gets killed, Tamir Rice, and they slam him, although he's a 12-year-old boy, there goes your clue. They're telling you their plan. But you're choosing not to listen because you don't understand exactly who you're dealing with. And until you understand who you're dealing with, you are going to continually fall for the okie doke and be fooled. In order to win a battle, you must know your opponent. Why do you think white people were so successful with slaving Africans? You cannot, I would dare any one of you who think that this is not true, go into anybody's neighborhood. Go into a Mexican neighborhood half-cocked on an impromptu plan and see how fast you die. You would have to plan it. You would have to study them. You would have to know what will work with them. You have to put a lot of time. They put a lot of time into this. They studied Africans' every movement. They studied their spirituality. They studied their rituals. They studied their relationships. They studied every single part of them. And that is the only way they were able to get the end to their countries, steal their people, and slave them. They had to gain a certain amount of trust because any tribe is not going to just let you come into their tribe. They took time gaining the trust of these people so that they could put them in captivity and slave them. That was phase one of their plan. Now, slavery is all playing out. Slavery is playing out for 500 years. You know, they're beating them. They're psychologically damaging them. They're feeding their babies to crocodiles. They're making it where they can't escape. They're cutting legs off. They cutting dicks off. They raping wives in front of these men. So these are all part of their plan. Because what do you think is going to do to a man when he can't even stop his own wife from being repeatedly raped? What does it do to the psyche of a man? What does it do to the psyche of a man when he can't defend himself or his wife? When he has to sit there and watch his wife get skin beat off of her body and he can't do one thing? What do you think it does to the psyche of a wife when she has to watch her husband get brutally beat by a bunch of white men and she can do nothing about it? When she has to watch her kids get sold off to plantation to plantation to plantation, what do you think that does to her? Why do you think our families are divided now? They're the ones who created separating families. They were separating families before you were even born. So you can't sit here and say black people are breaking the family structure. White people broke the family structure before you were even born. And that's what you don't understand. You were born into a broken family structure. You were born into chaos. You were born into the aftermath of psychopathology. That's what you were born in. And somehow, as black people, we seem to think that because the laws changed, these mentalities changed, and they haven't. These mentalities haven't changed, and you want to know why? They didn't want to end slavery. Let me read you a quote from the Confederate right after slavery ended. And I'm going to read you this, and this will tell you what they thought about it. Southern resistance, the views of Southerners against the Civil Rights Bill of 1875. Throughout Reconstruction, Southern whites felt threatened by legislation to provide rights for former slaves. They don't even want you to have rights. So that's number one. The Civil Rights Bill of 1875 was the last right bill passed by Congress during Reconstruction. It protected all Americans' access to public accommodations like trains. This document was written in the Atlanta News on September 10, 1874, and it urged Southerners to resist the Civil Rights Bill. Let there be white leagues formed in every town, village, and hamlet of the South, and let us organize for the great struggle which seems inevitable. If the October elections, which are to be held at the North, are favorable to radicals, the time will arrive for us to prepare for the very worst. So, in the white people's minds, the very worst case scenario was to have slaves free. So whoever wants to say they helped free the slaves and white people wanted slavery to end, don't be confused. No, they didn't. The radicalism of the Republican Party must be met by the radicalism of white men. We have no war to make against the United States government, but against the Republican Party, our hate must be unquestionable. Our war interminable, which means endless and merciless. So what they're saying is, if we can't slave black people, we are going to war and white people will die too. That's what they're saying. They're saying that slaving black people is so important. If you guys set them free, then you will die too, because we will wage a war against you and we will kill you too if that means we can slave black people. By brute force, they are endeavoring to force us into acquiescence, which means agreement, to their hideous program. Their hideous program is taking people out of bondage. So this tells you their mindset. To them, it is a hideous travesty to let these black people free, to stop beating them, to stop slaving them, to stop raping them. To white people, that is a hideous program that they really don't want to happen. Learn who you're dealing with. We have submitted long enough, and it is time to meet brute force with brute force. Every southern state should swarm with white leagues, and we should stand ready to act the moment Grant signs the Civil Rights Bill. It will not do to wait till radicalism has fretted us to the car of social equality before we make an effort to resist it. The signing of the bill will be a declaration of war against the southern whites. So what they're saying is that we will go to war and kill you whites if you want to let black people free. And this is what people don't understand. They did not want slavery to end. If they could still have you slaved, you would be a slave. Understand that because you have sex with them, that's not going to change that. Slave masters was having sex with their wives, with the female slaves, more than their wives. But I digress. It is our duty to ourselves. It is our duty to our children. It is our duty to our white race to take the gauge of battle the moment it's thrown down. It is time for us to organize. We have been temporizing, waiting to act long enough. Let northern radicals understand that military supervision of southern elections and the Civil Rights Bill mean war. That war means bloodshed. Now tell me when you don't want something to happen that bad, you're not going to have a backup plan. You will have a backup plan. There's no way they didn't have a backup plan. They had a backup plan because the whites didn't just, the North didn't just suddenly come one day and say stop slavery and then there's a war. The North had probably been approaching this with them for years. And so the South had some time to think about this. They had some time to think about, okay, well, what if slavery does end? Then what are we going to do? Is it a coincidence that immediately after slavery ended, the prison industrial system got filled up with black men? Is it a coincidence that our Constitution says that slavery is abolished unless you're a felon and then you can be a slave? So, let's go back to psychopaths. Their crimes are always highly organized, whether violent or non-violent. They are highly organized. They leave clues, and they always have a backup plan. what do you think we're living in now? If they're always highly detailed, highly organized, and they always have a backup plan, what do you think we're dealing with right now? Do you think that we're not dealing with the backup plan? We're dealing with the backup plan. And the funny thing is, part of that backup plan was educational, it was spiritual, it was psychological, because now black people are helping them with their plan. Their backup plan was to get black people to help them. If we can get black people on board, if we can get them to destroy their own communities, if we can get the men to fight against their women, if we can get the women to hate the men, if we can get the black men to feel like all they need is a white woman, we can destroy their race. But we don't have to put that much attention to it. Why not get them to do it? And you know what? You're doing it. You're doing it for them now. Yeah, you are. You're doing it for them now. Because every time you get on a YouTube video and you talk about how much you hate black women, or for the black women, every time you get on YouTube and you say you hate black men, you are the backup plan for a group of psychopaths that only wants to annihilate you. They want to make you extinct. Let's go further into their plan. Let's go further into their plan. For anybody who doesn't think institutional racism is a problem. For anybody who thinks that that mindset is dead. For anybody who thinks that that mindset wasn't planned. Let's look at some of the words of our forefathers. Of your forefathers that people really think really just wanted slavery to end. Benjamin Franklin. Why increase the sons of Africa by planting them in America where we have so fair an opportunity? By excluding all blacks and tawnies, or increasing the lovely white and red. There go Benjamin Franklin. Thomas Jefferson, one of your presidents, and the one that people want to sit there and say, oh, he freed the slaves. Oh, hail to Thomas Jefferson. He freed the slaves. I advanced it, therefore, as a suspicion only that the blacks, whether originally a distinct race or made distinct by time or circumstances, are inferior to the whites in the endowments of both body and mind. So is he the father of freeing slaves, or is he the father of white supremacy? Because if that's not the most white supremacy statement I've ever heard, then I don't know what is. Let's look at Abraham Lincoln, another president. There is a physical difference between the white and the black race, which I believe will forever forbid the two races from living together. While they do remain together, there must be the position of the superior and inferior. And I, as much as any man, am in favor of having the superior position be assigned to the white race. What does reality represent? Because I think these are our forefathers who helped to construct all the laws and the institutions of America, and these are their thought process. Abraham Lincoln said it himself. One of the races has to be superior, one has to be inferior. In order for them to live together, although he doesn't think that they should even coexist. But since we stole them from their country and brought them here, and now we can't rightfully tell them that they can't be here, since we do have to live together, you're going to be inferior and we're going to be superior. And since I'm white, and since we've already built up all this power, we're going to use it to make you inferior. So that's what's happening. And then Henry Berry, Virginia House of Representatives. I wonder, do any of you even know what the House of Representatives do? Probably not. But the House of Representatives, when those laws come, those House of Representatives have a big decision on what law they're going to be put into place. So let's listen to what Henry Berry said. We have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which the light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work will be complete. They would then be on the level of the beast of the field, and we should be safe. Let me just read that again so you can comprehend it, because I know some of you aren't even going to comprehend it. So let's read it again. We have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which the light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see the light, our work will be complete. they would then be on the level of the beasts of the field, and we then should be safe. How many black people do you know where that light has been extinguished? How many black people do you know don't even see the light anymore, don't see a possibility of the light? How do you not see that this is their plan being played out? This is a psychological warfare. This is the spiritual warfare. This is the physical warfare. But they know what they're doing. They know who they're dealing with, and that's why they've been successful. When are you going to learn about who you're dealing with? Because you want to sit there and think that because white people are having sex with you, that all of a sudden they're not racist. You want to think that because as a black man, you can go out and get a white woman, that there's no more racism in the world. Newsflash. You being with that white woman is part of the plan, because the minute they decide they don't want you with that white woman anymore, you will be killed and your dick will be cut off, just like it was pre-civil rights movement. They're controlling whether you get with that white woman. So if they can control that, if they can control when you start having the right to be with them and when you can't, why do you think all of a sudden they start saying you can? Think about that for a moment, because we already established we're dealing with some psychopaths. We already established that. Any of you who think that these are not psychopaths, please provide me some evidence of how they're not, because I just read you. Find you DSM-5, the book of psychological disorders. Read what a psychopath is, compare it to your history. And it's genetic. We know it's genetic. We know genetic traits get passed down from generation to generation. So why do you think it is that whenever there's a black man shot down on the street, no one cares? No one white does, because what do they do when they get on the news? What do? They justify it. Dogs have more respect than black people do. If a dog dies, look at Michael Vick's situation. When Michael Vick had them dogs fighting, those dogs, the uprising, it was just hell on earth because some dogs got killed. Let a black man get killed. Let a black child get killed. What happens then? Oh, he was a thug. Oh, 500 years ago, he smoked some weed. Oh, he shouldn't have been playing out in a park with a toy gun. We had to go shoot him. Oh, Michael Brown stole a $5 Swisher Sweet that wouldn't even get you any jail time. So he deserved to be shot out in the street. And this is what y'all accept. Because instead of black men being the kings that they're meant to be, did you not hear this man say that he's trying to be safe? They're saying they got to squish out the light from your mind. They have to literally psychologically screw you to the point that they don't have to fear you. That's what's going on. And you don't see it. It's like you don't see it. You have men out here more concerned about trying to get multiple women than preserving their life. You could die tomorrow based solely on the fact that you black, but you thinking about having 8 and 9 different women. What's that gonna do? Okay, you get the 8 and 9 different women and then you dead tomorrow. So then what? It's like, wouldn't you want to fight these battles first so that you know you can live to have the 8 to 9 different women? It's like, get your priorities straight. Because while you out here on this stupidity trying to get bitches and trying to get hoes and Jordans and get iced out, while you doing all that, there's a group of people that hated you from the beginning that are plotting your demise. And if you think they not, then you ain't in reality. Because we just discussed, slavery was a well thought out plan. We already know that. It was a well thought out plan. They did not want to end slavery. Just on a basic level, let me ask you this. If you're doing something and you are forced to stop doing it, what are you going to do? You're going to find a way to do it again. So what do you think is happening now in our society? They're finding a way to get you to be either dead or slaves. You heard your forefather Thomas Jefferson say black and white people cannot coexist together. If they do, one has to be superior, one has to be inferior. The white people ain't living an inferior existence. They're living superior existence. You are living inferior existence. And so, you know, you want to sit here and try to make it to be all that it is, or racism has ended, there's laws. I don't care about none of that, because at the end of the day, the people, the psychopaths are the ones just writing these laws. So do you think really they're going to abide by them? They wrote the laws so that they can lock you up and put you in jail. That's why there's 80 to 90% of the jail occupants are black men. They're leaving clues all over the place. That's one clue. They want you back in slavery. Second clue, the Constitution says if you have a felony, you're a slave. There's your second clue. They're throwing out these clues all over the place. These are literally your psychopathic killer calling cards, and no one wants to pay attention to them. Why is that? Why is that? I'm going to tell you why that is. I'm going to tell you. Because this dude, Henry Berry, he said it. That's why. That's why it is. Because Henry Berry said, we have, as far as possible, closed every avenue by which light may enter the slave's mind. If we could extinguish the capacity to see light, our work will be complete. They would then be on the level of the beasts of the field, and then we will be safe. If you want to see it, what I'm reading, I don't know if you could read that, but let me see if you could read that, maybe. Yeah, so if you could read that, then you can. If not, then look it up. They're telling you what they think about you. They're showing you every day what they think about you. So the bottom line is, being divided is only going to get you killed. They're also showing you, without trying to show you, that you are all you have. Don't let this plan get you annihilated, because they want your extinction. And I think that's what you guys don't understand. This isn't about this is deeper than you think it is. This is deeper. It's a whole lot deeper than you think it is. If you do the work, if you read, you will see what these people actually thought about you, and the mentality they passed down from generation to generation. The mentality is still here. This mentality that they had back in the 15, 16, 1700s, this mentality is still here. Just because you see black men having sex with white women, and white women having sex with black men, and white men wanting to have sex with black women, that changes nothing, because that's not a new concept. Like I said, slave owners were having sex with the black slaves more than they were having sex with their wives. They were having children with them, and the kids were still slaves. So don't get it twisted. Don't be fooled about it. That you can't sex away racism. You can't sex away white supremacy. That's not going to happen, because at the end of the day, you have a deep-seated mindset. You have a deep-rooted mindset, and that's been passed on from generation to generation to generation, of a group of people that do not like you. They will not ever accept you. That is a hard pill you are just going to have to swallow, because if you don't swallow that pill and get some reality, you're gonna die. And that's what you need to understand, because this is a lot deeper than what you think it is. And I'm going to keep doing this research, and I'm going to keep bringing it to you, because apparently people want to be in la la land. You want to be an ostrich and stick your hand in the sand. You could do that, but I won't be the one feeling like I should have did more, because I'm going to do this, and I'm going to tell you exactly who you're dealing with, because until you know who you're dealing with, you cannot battle them. You can't plan. You can't make your plan until you know who you're dealing with. That's why they've been so successful, is because they know who they're dealing with. They knew who they were dealing with before they put them in captivity. That's how they were able to get them into captivity, is because they do know who they're dealing with. And so now you need to know who you're dealing with. It's heavy stuff. It's emotional. If you really get down to it and research it like I did, it will bother your soul. It literally grieves my soul to think about what we are dealing with. And this was before my time. But to think about the plans that are in place, what do you think we'll be doing 2 years from now? It's going to be a lot worse. And until you know who you're dealing with, and until you snap out of this slave mentality, they want you to have that mentality. He just told you. He's trying to take all the light out of your mind so that he doesn't have to fear you anymore. So, black men, when are you going to rise up and be the kings that you should be being? They're not trying to destroy you for no reason. They know what's up. They're trying to make you inferior because they really are inferior. That's why they're scared of you. They told you. There's your clue. They told you they're scared of you. They told you that we can both exist and one of us is going to be inferior. What would naturally happen is black people would naturally be superior, and they know that. That's why they have to beat you down into the inferiority that they've beaten you down to. They have gotten you to hate yourself so much to make you feel like you are nothing when history shows that you are everything. History shows that they couldn't have even been here without you. But if you don't know who you are, then they can make you be whoever they want you to be. And that's what they're doing. They made you a slave and they're keeping you enslaved. The only difference now is that you have a wealth of information. You can read as much as you want to. You can find out who you are, but you're choosing not to. So why don't you go get that light back that they took away from you?